Hello, friends. Welcome back. Today we are continuing to explore our online resources. Today we're going to be looking at these 3 through 6 links and resources. These are better for our older students. If you're in third grade, you can kind of bounce between the two depending on what you're looking for. Some of these will be a lot more advanced, and they might not be for you, and that's okay. I just wanted to put all of the things in here in case people did want them. If it's not for you, don't feel like it's because you're behind. It's just I wanted to keep everything in there that I could possibly put for anybody who needed it. So once you click on this tile, it's going to take you to the Wakelet, and each of these has its own category because I had kind of too much stuff in there and it was getting overwhelming for me. So I organized them into smaller boxes. So we have digital drawing and painting, Photoshop. So these are free fake Photoshop resources, photo fun and collage, stylized drawing tools, text tools, graphic design tools, animation, 3D design, museum collections, to see and explore, character design and story building, mannequins and reference images, apps and games, and Zoom backgrounds. So I'm going to divide this up into a few videos because some of these categories have a lot of stuff in them. Some of them have less stuff in them, but they are all really interesting things that you can use. So let me just go through the basics of what this is, and then you can click through the playlist to find which ones you want to look at. So our first category is digital drawing and painting. So this is a whole bunch of different applications for digital drawing, and I'll walk you through each of them individually, which ones I like best. But they're all for painting online or on the computer, basically. Our next category is Photoshop. This sometimes has a little bit of overlap with the digital drawing. Some of the programs you can do both in, but all of these are basically Photoshop substitutes that are free online or free downloads. Again, you kind of have to try them out and figure out what's right for you and what works with your computer. Next, we have Photo Fun and Collage. This is one of the bigger categories, I believe. So this is less advanced than the fake Photoshop. So these are places and apps where you can combine photos or add effects to photos, filters, fun stuff, all sorts of different things. You can make wallpapers. So that's a fun one to play with. I think this is probably going to be the most fun category. I like doing this the best because it's not difficult and you can make really fun, silly things. Next, we have stylized drawing tools. Again, I think will be a favorite. A lot of you guys, if you've done computer stuff with me before, will have tried this out already. So things like Bomomo and the Scribbler and Silk. We'll go through that later. So these are more, this is drawing, but with a specific twist to it. So there's either a specific kind of tool you're using, or it looks a certain way, so it's not just drawing. Next, we have text tools. These are all different ways that you can make and use different fonts and logos. Things like that. Then we have graphic design and tools. Graphic design is creating art for more of a utilitarian purpose. It's things like advertising or layouts, or if you're designing a book, stuff like that. So I put in here different things you can use, places you can get inspiration, places you can get pictures. We'll go over that later. Next, we have animation. Animation is pretty self-explanatory. It's either places you can study animation or places you can make your own animation. Go over that with you guys later. Bunch of stuff in there. Next, we have 3D design. 3D design is a little more complicated, but it's basically anytime you're playing a video game that uses 3D, so if it's Animal Crossing or whatever, these are tools for making 3D shapes digitally. Next, we have museum collections. A lot of museums have their collections online. So not just like a tour where you can look like you're walking through the museum, but also where you can look at the art up close. Not all of it is paintings and drawings either. There are fashion ones. There are installations you can go into, sculptures, all sorts of cool stuff. This isn't the place that people go to the most often, but a lot of times they have really, really interesting stuff and things that you might never have seen before. In the same vein, we have to see and explore. So these are more like virtual tours and things like that, or just broader stuff for you to explore. So more things to look at than things to do, stuff about artists, concept art, those sorts of things. Then we have character design and story building. This is really good if you're into video games or you want to design a graphic novel or a comic book. It's got some games, some costume designers, some story tips, stuff like that. Then we have Mannequins and Reference. So this is places where you look at pictures to draw, to help you draw. A lot of professional artists draw using references or mannequins. Just because it didn't come for your brain doesn't mean it's not legitimate art. It's usually better to use a reference to draw than to draw from your brain because it's going to be more accurate. So that's that. Then we have apps and games. This is more just like fun stuff you can play with and do. So this one's more just like for funsies. Ooh. So we've got games, places where you can practice your color skills, those kinds of things. And then last, I have just some Zoom backgrounds just because I think they're fun. Different art, different history. This is also just in our Zoom section on the Lamar Art website. So this is just different places you can get Zoom backgrounds, which I think is fun. So that's a little tour of the categories in this 3 through 6 section. I'm going to go more specifically through the resources, and I'm going to keep updating it as I find new things. But I just wanted to give you guys an overall idea of what's in here because I know it can be overwhelming to look through all of those resources. So here's my little tour of them.